Hello, everybody. I know that I'm probably the second to last thing standing between you and your next meal or cup of coffee or a drink. So hopefully this is going to be a little bit different. We've heard such amazing things over the last 2 days about the infrastructure that people are building in this space, which is so critical. But what we're focused on at WalletConnect is how we take that infrastructure and impact the way that end users experience Web3. And so what I'm going to talk to you about over the next 20 minutes is the research that we've been doing, the products that we've been building at WalletConnect that build in a chain agnostic way and take this technology to the masses. Or actually, as something that I've started saying more frequently, instead of bringing the next billion users into crypto, how do we bring crypto to the next billion users? How do we meet them where they are, where they want to be, and meet their expectations? As Lane said, WalletConnect has been around for quite some time. I was privileged to take over as CEO very recently. But what we've been working on for the last 6 years is ways to connect wallets and apps within Web3. It started off as a QR code that many of you might be familiar with to connect a mobile wallet into an application. And today we serve thousands and thousands of applications, over 600 wallets, and make millions of connections between users and their applications every month. So I'm going to talk to you first a little bit about where we are today, and then talk to you about the research that we've been working on. WalletConnect was always designed to be a decentralized network, i.e. one where we don't sit in the middle. But until today, building that database on a scalable basis has been incredibly challenging. So we're really pleased that during the course of Q1 this year, we finally transitioned to a decentralized database. We're currently running all the nodes, but we'll introduce third-party node operators during the course of Q2 and are working towards a fully permissionless network during 2025. And what this means is that those connections that we run, the relays that we provide between apps and wallets, will no longer be reliant on our servers. And I think this is an incredibly powerful step towards the decentralized vision of the internet that we all have. And on top of that, and part of what we've been building and why I'm so excited to talk today about the user experience, is a suite of SDKs that take the technology around wallets, around applications, the user experience, how we experience transactions, authorize, sign transactions, connect our wallets, load our wallets, make exchanges within our wallets, how we make those easier. And today that really comprises 2 key products for us. One is our Web3 Wallet SDK that's used by many wallets across all different chain ecosystems in order to gain access to that relay network. And then our Web3 Modal, which is the application side SDK. And this is where many of you as users might have seen WalletConnect when you click that familiar Connect Wallet button in the corner of a screen, and you're given the option to connect the wallet of your choice. And so this is really how we think about taking products to market, and we partner with applications, other connection kits like ours, in order to provide access to our infrastructure layer. But this is just the sort of technical side. And what we really think about at WalletConnect is those end users on a day-to-day basis and what they want. And I think it's very clear that today we still face many barriers in bringing crypto to the next billion users. Success for us is underpinned by a fundamental principle, which is that we need to deeply understand the users that we have today, those of you who are in the room, those of you who are already familiar with Web3. But actually, maybe more importantly, we need to understand the users of tomorrow, those who aren't so used to managing their own assets, to holding their seed phrases somewhere safe, and to making multiple clicks in order to do a single transaction. The challenge that we face as an industry is that we are competing from a user experience perspective with Web 2. And in that regard, so much progress has been made over the last decade that we really have a lot to think about in this industry about how we provide equal and if not better experiences that really bring those true values of Web3 to users without compromising on the experience that they have when interacting with dApps. So we think a lot about people's needs, their behaviors, and their expectations. And here I like to call out that these are different because actually often what people say they want is different to what their revealed preferences are. And the survey that I'm about to share more details on really came up with some surprises for me personally about the anecdotal feedback that I get from users that they're concerned about X, Y, and Z, and that actually what we observe in the way that they are using this technology today. So this is something that we produced earlier this quarter in collaboration with YouGov. So it was a survey done across participants in the UK and in the US. We have a bigger one planned for this year with more detail that I'm very excited about too. But this was our first ever kind of crypto consumer sentiment report. And we felt that this was important to do and to share, and you can download this from our website, in order to give application builders and wallet builders insight into the consumers that they are serving today and the consumers that they want to serve. So this was a bit of a breakdown of the people who participated in the survey. And these are the voices that shape how we think about building crypto experiences today. Making sure that we've got a diverse group of representatives. This is actually very similar to the group of representatives we have that sit on our kind of consumer insights panel also, and making sure that we really deeply understand their behavior by asking questions not just about what they want, but about how they think about what they want and why they want it too. And we broke these down into a set of profiles. And for us, this was a much more interesting way to examine the data. We could spot trends across the user groups, the newbies, those who'd most recently created wallets, cryptonauts, those who were most excited about new experiences and trying new things within the ecosystem, people who had a heavy focus in their activity on DeFi, people whose primary activity in Web3 was NFT collections, people who were interested in social, and I'm going to touch a little bit more on that as well, and finally, traders. And there were some overlaps between these groups, but we noticed very distinct sets of behavior and very distinct sets of asks between them. So let me dive into some of the insights that we have. Firstly, over 50% of the respondents that we had were actively embracing this technology. Most of them expressed confidence, which is surprising given some of the later results that you'll see in terms of the concerns that they also have, specifically around security and user experience. And most of them expressed an interest in learning more. It's interesting to note, I think, that despite having 9% saying that they were completely new to the technology, 70% of that 9% said that they were really excited by it and felt confident using it. So what do people say that they want? Well, firstly, you can see that 40% are willing to explore new features. These are people who are eager to see what is out there. They're actively seeking new experiences. And it's these 16% that we identified as the cryptonauts in the group, those who say that they, on a weekly or even daily basis, are finding out new applications, they're on Twitter, they're in Discord channels, they're actively engaging with new projects. And considering for me that this was a survey of a very wide generalist population, we hadn't targeted Web3 users specifically. It was really interesting for me that so many people were so excited by the potential of Web3. NFTs came in as the top experience that people wanted. Over 35% of the consumers that we surveyed said that this was most interesting to them. And Web3 social and messaging was at 32%. This, I think, is kind of exciting, especially considering when we look at the breakdown of the most active users that this was their top choice. Maybe it's no surprise, given all the activity we've seen in the social space this year with Farcaster and similar applications coming to fruition. But I think it highlights a real need and a real want within the Web3 community and within broader communities for new and better ways of engaging in a social manner. It also, I think, highlights one of the reasons that we at WalletConnect have built in human-readable messages and notifications between apps and end users, because I think what we are lacking today in the space is this communication and is this ability to communicate and engage with our end users without needing to fall back to Web 2 technologies like email. I always find it a little odd when I'm engaging with my wallet with a Web3 application, and yet I'm asked to provide Web 2 communication methods to them in order for them to engage with me. Prefer not to do that. One of the reasons that many people like using Web3 applications, like connecting with their wallets, is to maintain privacy. And so the idea of doxing ourselves and giving away our email addresses and mobile phone numbers, I think feels a little antagonistic to many people, including me, and one of the reasons that I'm super excited for Web3 native messaging. On the other side, when we look at wallets, the breakdown of people showed that the majority of people in this group that we surveyed had created their wallet between 2020 and 2022. Wallets are, as we know, the gateway for users to interact with crypto, to manage their assets, to execute transactions. And so when we look at the way that people are using their wallets today, and I use wallets very specifically because many users have more than one wallet, gives us a lot of insight into how we can develop the wallet experience going forwards. Most users say that they still prefer to use one wallet, but unsurprisingly, most active users have more than one wallet. The reasons that they give for that, including accessing multiple chains and multiple networks, and also for security features. So specifically, when we look at traders, at people highly engaged with DeFi, then many of these people had two or more wallets, and the majority of them, 35% of the respondents in those groups, said that they did that for security reasons. This will be very familiar to many of you, the idea of having maybe more valuable assets in one wallet that you're not using on a daily basis, and a hot wallet that you might be using more regularly. But again, it feels like a clunky user experience to be managing many wallets at the same time. And so one of the things, again, that we're working on is how we bring wallets into a multi-account setup. And I think the advent of smart account technology is also important here, about allowing different security parameters to be set by end users using things like session keys that will ultimately deliver a much more intuitive user experience whilst preserving the security and the safety as well that people really want within Web3. I think one of the key things that has been highlighted through this report was around the problem areas that people say that they have within wallets. 30% of cryptonauts, those most active and excited users, said that their biggest problem was actually around gas fees. And I think here again, smart accounts, sponsored transactions are going to do a lot for improving that side of the user experience. Whilst 17.4% of people said that their biggest problem with wallets was related to security. When you look at just hardware wallets, that rises to around 28%, but only about 15% with mobile wallets. And so really we've got a lot of feedback that security is almost like the number one concern for many users. And some of this data shows the impact that this is having. So really thinking now about people who are losing their seed phrases and passwords, people who are damaging hardware wallets and don't have the capability to restore them correctly, people who lose access to funds due to phishing and malware attacks. And again, I think when we point at the user experience improvements that we can make here, things like decrypted notifications so that we're not blind signing transactions, things that run simulations for us, things that indicate and give us an idea when we might be about to engage with a more risky transaction, are all things that we should all be thinking about, whether we're on the dApp or the wallet side of this ecosystem, in terms of how we deliver a better user experience to people. But one of the things that did make me laugh, actually, was around these highly security conscious users that we have in Web3. Because what actually people revealed to us was that only 27% said that they used the security measures that were available to them. And 6% actively selected the box that said, "I am too lazy." And so it was really funny again to me to show that despite the industry making some progress here, adding additional security features, most end users, those same end users who say that they really want more security, don't use it. And so here again is where we need to think about how we implement some of these features. Can we make them more intuitive? Can we take the burden of thought away from the end user and embed these security features, still giving them flexibility, but making them the default rather than the opt-in? And again, these are all ways that I think we can improve safety and security within Web3 and ultimately attract more users to the industry. This contradiction, I think, for me was probably the most revealing aspect of the report so far. But I think when we think about this year, we also just see this great sentiment. We see activity. Everybody here in the room, I spent the last few weeks actually at various events observing the excitement of whether this is maybe a bull market, maybe just the start of the bull market. And I think that when we think about what people want, what people need, what we're seeing again in the results is that people want better NFT experiences. They want better security, but they're very, very excited about what's to come. And this outlook is sort of very consistent across the board. So we had about a third of people express optimism for Web3 adoption and usage. But still people saying that they were not user-friendly enough, not secure enough, and maybe also that there is just a limited offering out there. And this is the final point that I want to come to, which is around what people actually want to be doing with their assets and what people want to be engaging with. So as we look ahead, how do we turn some of these insights into real action? Well, firstly, I think for me, it highlights the need to do more of these surveys because I love these surprises that come out of them. And I think when we think about doing great standard of product management within the industry, there's a lot more user research that needs to be done. We need to be listening to what our consumers want. And we need to listen to why they want them as well. So these NFTs, the social messaging, the community platforms that people are asking for me, drive down to this true Web3 values that all of us are here for. The sense of ownership that we can get, the sense of community, new avenues for self-expression and creativity, NFTs that we can truly own and trade in a way that we've never been able to do before, and social platforms that offer censorship-resistant communication. The idea of everybody having the right to a wallet, everybody having the right to own their assets and to engage in Web3 is so fundamental to us at WalletConnect. And thinking about how we can bring this to more people is at the core of what we do almost every single day. And so one of the things that we're really working on and that I'm imploring the whole industry to think about is how we can make these user experiences more familiar and how we can hold ourselves to a very, very high standard in terms of what people expect. The security features are just one of these things, but ultimately all of us are used to these delightful app experiences in Web 2, and I think it's not about us as an industry just matching them anymore. I think we really have to exceed them in order to drive better adoption. So I want to leave you really with this idea that as we navigate the complexities of Web3, we don't forget this human element. The desires and aspirations of the people that we are here to serve. It's not just about features, but it's about creating a welcoming environment and a welcoming user experience, not for people to join us in crypto, but so that we can take this technology to where they are and to the experiences that they want. If you want to find out more about WalletConnect and what we're doing, these are our Twitter profiles. Mine's Jess Houlgrave, and we're at WalletConnect. This year is an incredibly important year for us with this decentralization of the network. And we really look forward to partnering with many of you, whether you're a chain, a wallet, or an application, in order to continue to drive against that mission. Thank you.